I say, YouTube. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So we got Amazon, Tesla, Apple put a hiring freeze out. A couple of the big boy tech companies either are slicing the roster or they're putting a freeze on hiring. Right? What does that mean moving forward? Let's get into it. If it's your first time rocking with the boy, I be the KING SPR 33. That be me, King Spree. And you locked in with the realest, they tell me. Reporting live from Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. The weather about's a beautiful day. It's 65 degrees outside, not a cloud in the sky, praise to the Most High. And baby, you've been patiently waiting for that mixtape to drop, and I promise it's coming soon, and you're gonna love it. Big tech companies are slicing and dicing the roster. What does it mean for moving forward? So, as everybody probably knows, the ones that are in tune with anything, we are in a high inflationary period. Not high compared to the 80s, but high in general. Like, the normal inflation rate is 2%. We got as high as, I believe, high 8s or even 9. Correct me if I'm wrong. And right now, I think we're at 7.5 or 7.7% inflation. And what that means essentially is that everything costs more. The prices are inflated. The cost of living is inflated. Now, the problem with inflation is or anything like this is that it's not like, okay, it gets to, let's say houses get to an average of $500,000 in your area, which they are out here, but more than that. That doesn't mean that when the inflation stops that those houses go back to $200,000 or $300,000. That is your new price. It just means that it won't increase at a higher level. Now, I'm not a financial expert by any means, because I'm not a financial advisor, and I ain't got the finances to advise you. You hear me? But from my understanding, that's what it means. So what does that mean to our future when the tech companies are letting people go? Well, on one side, people can say, well, the tech companies were wilding out. They had their headquarters being basically Disney World, and they were overspending. They were giving out money like it was going out of style. To an extent, that's true. But the thing about the tech companies that's a big deal too is a lot of the tech companies and the heads of said tech companies, they're very in tune with how the economy works. And a lot of times they're ahead of the curve. Think about it. When you think about a tech company, they're innovators in most cases. They're taking a product and pushing it to the new level or inventing a whole new product in general, right? We take the Apples, the Microsofts, the Googles, these different tech companies, they're innovators. So as a result, they usually are ahead of whatever's about to come. Them letting their staff go is a big deal, in my opinion. And I think it's a sign for things to come. I think next year we're going to experience the first year of our official recession where they admit that there is one. And I think we're going to see a lot of jobs lost. I think we're going to see wages cut, budgets cut, especially for companies that can do without. When COVID hit and they started having people work remotely, that made a lot of employers and employees realize they didn't need to be in an office building to make money. Well, take that now and extrapolate it, because I think that what's going to happen now is a lot of companies are going to say, I can, instead of having a staff of 50 people, 100 people, 5,000 people plus, I can work that with a fifth of what it was. I can outsource a lot of my day-to-day activities. Instead of having 5 managers, I can have 2. Instead of having 100 call center representatives on staff, I can have 20 and cut the volume down. So I think we're going to see a situation where a lot of companies are going to slash their roster. I don't think healthcare will take too much of a hit, just because there's always a need, and being that healthcare is such a burnout type of career, I don't think we're going to see a dip in that. There's always a spot available, depending on what you do, obviously. But nurses, doctors, therapists, to a certain extent, I don't think they're going to see much of a hit. But a lot of jobs that, for example, Walmart, you already see they're going with mostly self-checkout, mostly AI, right? Man, you're about to see a whole new now they're going to start making it where instead of having those 4 or 5 people direct you where to go, and the greeter in the front and the other guy that checks your receipt, and the other, man, they about to slash all that. They're going to have systems put in place that do all that. And before you know it, by 2030 is probably that year, you're going to see a lot of job opportunities gone. And which it sucks, because they tell you go to school, learn a skill so you can work for a job and have some job security. But a lot of the things that we went to school for, a lot of things that you're going to school for currently don't have no real value. And even if they have some kind of value, it's not enough value that an AI won't take its place. That AI won't take its place. We're gonna be put in situations where if you're not owning your own business, whatever that might mean, if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not entertainer, if you're not doing something socially, if you're not somehow or another with your own business stamp, it's gonna be very hard to make any substantial money. And by substantial, I don't mean millions of dollars. When I talk about living and being well off, I don't ever speak about making millions of dollars. I'm only talking about making enough money where you're not living check to check. So a lot of people have a weird understanding of what that means. They think that means, oh, if you're making $30 an hour, $40 an hour, you're good. If you're clearing $70,000, $80,000 a year, depending where you live, you're good. Well, yeah, depending where you live, you can be okay. If you live in Mississippi and you're making $80,000 a year, you're okay. But who wants to live in Mississippi? And how many jobs are really paying 80 grand in Mississippi? Alabama, Louisiana. Yeah, places like that, Kentucky, you're going to have a good opportunity. But if you're living in LA, making 80 grand a year is like making 30 grand a year somewhere else. If you're living in Atlanta, if you're living in New York City, Miami, if you're living in even Las Vegas to a certain extent, 80 grand ain't going to take you far. 80 grand will have you still living check to check. Don't let your car go out. Don't let the AC mess up. Don't let a tooth come out and you need to go ahead and get fixed up. It can turn to a whole new thing. So with the tech companies cutting positions, I know we're about to go into a time period in our lives where if you're not making substantial money, it's gonna be a wrap. And by a wrap, I don't mean that you're gonna be out of house and home, but the stress level is about to really increase, man. It really is. And I know on the gram, everybody makes it seem like we all getting this money. Nobody gets stimulus checks. Nobody's on government assistance. I posted this the other day, and it's so true. The middle class has it the worst. The middle class has it the worst. And what that means is that if you are rich, or by rich, I mean like you make over $250,000 a year, right? Let's say out of that, you take home high 180. You're in that top, I believe that's 1% tax bracket. You're too rich to really, or you make enough money annually that you don't really worry about day-to-day bills. Your mortgage is okay. Your car notes are okay. Your groceries you're not worried about. Your power bill, your phone bill. These things are not things that you really worry about, right? I'm sure you have other bills you might be concerned about, but you're not worried about, can you pay the power bill? And if you're really low on a totem pole, damn near to the poverty line or close to it, the government has a lot of things in position to help you out. Food stamps, supplemental income, Social Security for those that are retired. If you have kids, that's a whole nother thing. So they kind of help you out with that. But the middle class is really where you're stuck, because if you're making, and yes, they consider this middle class, if you're making $40,000, $50,000 and up, they consider you basically middle class. And middle class, there's no extra income coming in. You're being taxed at not the highest tax bracket, but you're being taxed. The percentage of tax that you're giving to the government hurts you more than somebody else that makes a lot more money. So for every $100 you're making, you're giving away what, 21, 22 before health insurance, before anything like that. And I think I'm even wrong. I think it's 28. So middle class has it the worst. And middle class is what they educate us at a young age to be. Fireman, police officer, nurse, doctors, being in the healthcare field, doing these kind of positions put you in the middle class. Even being an engineer, being something in that world still puts you in the middle class. And it makes us wonder, is it worth it to do it? Because at the end of the day, we're suffering the most financially. We're working the hardest, working the longest hours, we're putting in the most time, and we have the least job security, and we're paying money left and right. Man, when COVID first stopped, or not stopped, but when COVID first, like, the restrictions started getting more lenient, and I went grocery shopping, I was realizing, like, man, dog, I'm paying $200 for things I used to pay $90 for, literally, not figuratively. You go to the grocery store now and you pull out 15 items. 15 items could cost you $130. And it ain't like I'm buying, like, it's not like I'm buying caviar. Not like I'm buying, like, some stuff, like, I'm not even shopping at Whole Foods. Your local Walmart, your local Smiths or Albertsons or Publix if you're down south. Man, them prices could run you, for 20 items, that could run you $150. Thanksgiving dinner's coming up, right? A lot of families got to do Thanksgiving dinner. Man, if y'all not doing, like, a big, like, everybody chipping in, if it's, like, just the dad or just the mom that got to worry about supplying the meals, a Thanksgiving dinner could run you $1,000. And I know that sounds like a crazy number. It's not. A Thanksgiving dinner can run you $1,000, actually easy. Feeding 5 to 6, feeding 10 people, we're talking about $1,000 Thanksgiving dinner. And that's Big Mama's dinner, and you're still paying $1,000. That ain't no, like, you at a crazy hotel or crazy banquet paying $1,000. We're talking about Big Mama with the foil pans, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, cornbread. That can run you $1,000 nowadays, how groceries cost money. Then you go into travel expenses for the holidays, for those that want to travel back to their hometown. Christmas shopping coming up, birthdays, New Year's Eve, Christmas itself, just the holiday festive environment. Man, you're really in for a doozy, because they about to hit you over the head with a bunch of prices. And it just shows how inflation is really up the ante for all of middle class, everybody, but especially middle class. So back to the original point, Amazon and different companies putting hiring freezes and cutting their roster, I think it's a sign of things to come, and it's not good. And I'm not the news. I don't want to sell fear, but it's just important that we're enlightened. Like, man, I saw a article that supposedly Jeff Bezos had an interview where he was saying he doesn't suggest people buy any big ticket items coming up. Big ticket meaning a new car, new house, jewelry, anything that's going to really put a setback where you got to save money for. He suggests you're not doing it because it's about people got to bunker up and have some liquid cash. I know on the other side, people are saying there's never a bad time to buy real estate. Go out there, secure your price range, secure your buying area, and I understand that point too. So you gotta really just go for what you feel is the best for you. But we're going into a period, man, where you're gonna have to really be conscious of the money you spend, and all that faking and fugazi stuff that be on the gram. Man, it's gonna come to a head. It's gonna come to a head. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the kingdom, join the royal family. Videos are coming out each and every week, two, three a week. We're getting more consistent. We're going into 2023. Leave in the comment section, what do y'all think? Are we going towards a real recession? We got the boy number 45 coming back. He running for president again. Are we going into a real recession? Or are we okay? And we just got to make smarter decisions. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Like the video. This has been the message brought to you by the good people over here at Spree ENC. It's going to make sense real soon.